Nobody was surprised that one of the first things that happened after Donald Trump got in office is they passed this absolutely massive tax cut bill. And individual billionaires made out like bandits, almost literally like bandits, but not just them, corporations too. And corporations are already and will be, as long as Donald Trump is in office, and if another corporate Democrat gets in, likely even then, be flooded with money. And the argument that's made to the American people is, no, that's not corrupt or whatever, it's good. Because we give them tons of money and then they invest it, they hire people, it all trickles down. But does it? I'm gonna show you the recent numbers, but I want you to bear in mind, recent numbers or not, what always ends up happening when you shower them with money is they use it to their benefit, not to the benefit of the workers, or the American people, or the American government, or anything like that. And this is just the most recent cycle of that. What they're doing is corporate stock buybacks. It's what they always do when you give them money. And those buybacks are now expected to top $1.1 trillion this year, led by big banks and tech firms. They've already announced just shy of $1 trillion of stock buybacks so far this year. The best start to a year on record, with best having a certain meaning, I suppose. I don't think it's best from my perspective, but it should end up topping $1.1 trillion. And you can see how that has trended over the last 20 years or so. And if you're not a CEO, I assume most of you are. If you're not a CEO, what this basically is they have all this money. They have way too much money to spend on things like new factories, new facilities, which, and this is gonna blow the mind of people like Donald Trump, you don't just build because you have the money to build it, you build it if you need to build it. You build those sorts of things, you produce more gadgets and doodads based on demand, not just based on having the cash. You don't do it out of the goodness of your heart, you do it if you need to. And since they don't need to, they find somewhere else to put the money. And so what do? They literally buy their own stock. And you might wonder, if you're one of the vast majority of the American public who doesn't own stock, well, why would they do that? Because if they buy up the stock, there's less stock out there, which means that the individual stock is worth more money. And why would you do that? Well, the board members, including the CEO, all the leadership, they own a ton of the stock. And so it's a way for them to effectively give themselves a massive raise. And even aside from the personal corruption of that, make it look like the corporation is worth way more than it was, even though the fundamentals, supply and demand, all of that, are exactly the same. It's what they do every time they're showered with money, which is effectively every time a new Republican administration comes in and passes a massive tax bill like this, which Trump did, and Trump did last time, and George W. Bush, and on for literally decades. And so that's what they're doing. None of this, by the way, will produce a single additional job. None of this is research and development that lowers the cost of the goods and services that you buy or anything like that. It's not building out the infrastructure of America. It's jacking up artificially the stock price of these corporations. It's what we told you they would do, and it's what they're doing, Nina. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, and it, John, as you were talking, I was thinking gluttony, greed. That's really what this is. I mean, how much money is enough? And to live in a society, a hegemonic nation like the United States of America, where so few have so much and so many have little. A society where people can't afford their health care, where people put insulin on credit cards, where food banks now, we have a GOP leadership that has cut funding to food banks. They worship at the feet in real time to these corporations, and the system is rigged. I need folks to understand that. But the system is not immutable, meaning the system was created by a group of people and the system can be recreated by a group of people. Again, the question becomes, when will we, the people, be so fed up that we're not gonna take this anymore? These corporations are unpatriotic, and they are showing that they don't care one iota about we the people, about the American people.
I hope that they are enraged, at the very least in time for the Democratic primary, which should hopefully, I want it to be a royal goddamn rumble. I want it to be a metaphoric, blood sport. I want put whatever centrist Democratic governors you want or whatever. We got one locally. You can send them over there and then have them face down the best progressives, a whole bunch of them. You know what I want that we've almost never gotten? I want a Democratic primary where I get to be in vicious debates, feuds with other leftists about the best presidential candidate. Not like, oh, we got one and they're gonna be shivved by Buttigieg or whatever. No, not that. I wanna be like, no, I think it should be X or whatever. No, it's actually them. They've got a better housing policy. They're more committed to climate justice. That's what I want, and I hope that we get it. And there's a whole bunch of time leading up to that for us to generate a bunch of great candidates. Now, let's briefly, we're gonna cover one more topic briefly there. Because we're talking about how all of this showering them with money is not going to generate more jobs. Well, so what do you do if it doesn't? Like the jobs numbers are not looking great. Well, what if you had a little bit more control over the numbers? Let's talk about that right now. So after having an epic meltdown over the accurate jobs numbers that were released just a couple of weeks ago, Trump ended up canning the prior head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, who I will remind you is not in charge of generating those numbers. She's just the messenger, but he fired her anyway. And so now he's replaced someone new with someone new, or nominated, I should say. It'll be confirmed, but E.J. Antoni is an economist at the Conservative Heritage Foundation. So again, doesn't mean they don't know their numbers or whatever, but they're coming from a massive and influential conservative think tank, so just bear that in mind. He accompanied this announcement with this True Social post saying that they're highly respected. That just means he likes them. You won't be respected anymore if he doesn't like you anymore. He says our economy is booming and EJ will ensure that the numbers released are honest and accurate. They have always been honest and accurate. That doesn't mean that they didn't ever get it wrong. The fact that numbers need to be revised in future months is evidence of that, and that has always been the case. It's been the case under him. It's been the case under Biden, under George W. But they're doing the best job that they can. And that ran afoul of Donald Trump. You see, you have the jobs numbers that are based, that are real, that are accurate, that are correct. And then you have the hypothetical jobs numbers that would be politically correct, that would be acceptable to the dear leader. And those are no longer being generated by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Will EJ Antoni generate politically correct numbers that Donald Trump can tolerate? That remains to be seen. Again, he will not individually be crunching the numbers, but if he starts cleaning house, if he starts bringing in, doggy people to work there or whatever, well, then you might see something like that. And I will bear in mind, he has been very critical of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Again, baselessly, and he has even announced recently that perhaps we should do away entirely with the jobs numbers. And it's convenient to do that if they don't look good for the president who just appointed you. Because Nina, if he puts out another couple months of accurate but bad numbers, he would expect, I'm sure, that he'd be fired too. And so again, this is no way to run a serious government, a modern democracy. But for some tin pot dictatorship, yeah, this is run of the mill. What do you think?
Oh yeah, no, definitely that. And and please, folks, don't be fooled by the PhD behind this man's name. That means absolutely nothing, given the way that he's coming into this job. He will not. I wouldn't be surprised, John, if they announce that they are going to do away with the numbers, because that's the only way this man is going to be able to keep his job. He will not give an accurate jobs report if the accuracy means that President Trump is not going to be happy. And in that, we should all be concerned. Service to a leader does not mean capitulating. It doesn't mean just flat out lying and deceiving the American people. If the president is so fragile that he can't handle the truth, then there's something wrong, especially since he ran as a populist. He should want to know what the truth is so that then he can use his powers and his influence to make it better for Americans in this country, from East Palestine, Ohio, all the way to Cleveland, Ohio, to LA, to wherever these folks live, Iowa, wherever they live, John. That's how he ran. But now he don't want the truth. Jack Nicholson said it better than me in the movie Few Good Men. He can't handle the truth.
Yeah, and there is, I don't think this is an exaggeration. There is nothing more pathetic than running as fast as you can from reality, running from the truth. If you're a regular person, you're struggling and there's something that's just, I get that. He's the goddamn leader. And he would purport, if you were to ask him, to be a man. He ain't either of those things. If you're scared of reality, if you stick your head in the sand from the truth, if it hurts your feelings, that's utterly pathetic, man. Utterly pathetic. And here's the issue with this guy. Will the numbers be accurate or not? We'll never know. How would we know? Maybe they will. Maybe he won't get involved. But now we need to question it. And we've never had to do that before. And I defy you, if you're MAGA or whatever, I've been doing this show for a long time. Go back to a good jobs number under Donald Trump that I said I don't believe. Go back to Biden or Obama, a bad jobs number that I say I don't believe. You're not gonna find it. Because we've always been able to accept that those numbers are right. Now, what caused the numbers, whether we think responsibility should go to the president, I always feel like people exaggerate that a little bit, both under Democrats and Republicans. But if it's bad for a really long time, that doesn't look good for Donald Trump. And so maybe we just don't get these anymore. Utterly pathetic from top to bottom.